Ah, yes. So in the last part of the podcast, we had a genius idea that was turned into like almost a shorts thing. We call it Thinker and Hunter. Hunter and Thinker. It doesn't really matter. Hunter and Thinker.
Hunter and Thinker.
Basically, they're two... So it's inspired by Carl Sagan. Because in his book...
And with a touch of Alf.
With a touch of Alf, yes. If you don't know what Alf is an 80s television show. And in the 4th season, they make him go on a diet. And when Melmacians go on a diet, which is he's an alien, and when Melmacians go on a diet, they revert back to primordial versions of themselves. So he reverts back to caveman Elf. And there's this point where Willie, his friend, goes to find him out in the woods. And he calls him Zog, the timid hunter. I told you, stay back in cave, finish bison mural, but no. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. And then Carl Sagan has a chapter, I think it's like chapter 8 or something, where he talks about stars and how we wondered what stars were. And he has a part where there's 3 pages where he just talks like a caveman. And it's like the logic of what cavemen could have gone through determining what the stars were.
Lazy man.
Well, no, that's...
Oh, no, you had the lazy man who looked up at the stars.
Yeah. So then we had then we continued to listen to Carl Sagan, and we just have and they'd come with some realization, and where you'd have this conversation between a hunter, we call him Hunter, and then the smart caveman, we call him Thinker. It started off as the lazy man, but now he's just Thinker.
Yeah.
And so basically, we wanted to make a little series of shorts almost, where they tell the story of Hunter and Thinker. So I think it starts off with they're on a hunting trip. And Hunter is teaching Thinker how to hunt. And then Thinker's like, this looks like bad idea.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
I have
better idea. And Hunter's like, no. You think too much. You just do.
Just stab.
And then, I think we said it goes wrong, right? So that's when Hunter's like, no. You know good at hunt. You go back. Paint bison.
Finish bison.
No. Actually, no. He told him no. You banned from tribe.
You banned from tribe.
You have no other purpose. Well, then Thinker goes back.
Paints bison mural.
And there's a part of the plot that sets up more stories later on, where the women, there's too many babies in the tribe. And so the women are too busy taking care of babies and gathering food to paint bison mural. So Thinker paints bison mural. And that's the next one. where Hunter comes back and he's like, I thought I told you to gone. Why are you still here, Thinker? And Thinker's like, I paint a bison mural. And he's like, And that's
I need one over my wife's bed.
No. That is why this is so controversial. That right there. So he's like, paint bison. And he's like, I paint bison mural. And he's like, that is good bison mural. Tell you what, I want own bison mural, but the wife too busy with kids and collecting food. I give you... And then the next one would be that Thinker invents the word time. It's like, I give you more time, and Thinker's like, time is like 1 day. 1 day is sun up, sun down. Just sun up again. Hunter's like, okay. So then there'd be a series of ones where Thinker teaches Hunter all these things. So one is they invent the axle...
The Atlatl or something?
The Atlatl, which Kyle was trying to convince us that is not that old, and that only the Aztecs invented it, and that it's only since BCE, and that the museum was wrong at how old it was, and that when in reality...
Well, he said it was... I said it was... They were around much earlier, but their peak was that late. No, because then eventually I think he looked at it and he's like, no, they are right.
Well, so no, he was talking about the peak of the Aztecs is what he's also arguing about. But he's also talking about the axolotl, in which I had to tell him, like, I read an entire book on ancient humans in America. The spear thrower has been around for a very long time. I think they just had to find a word for it, and so they used the Aztec word for it.
Yeah.
Instead of just calling it a spear thrower. And so...
I mean, it's very well possible the Aztecs had their own version, you know?
Right.
It's been proven time and time again that, you know, just because that multiple cultures that have no influence on one another, at complete different sides of the world, can still arrive at the same conclusion on the most efficient way to throw a sphere.
Right.
A spear.
Right. So Thinker would help Hunter and come up with spear thrower. And so then, well, he still hasn't worked on the bison mural at this point. This is kind of the on-running gag that he hasn't finished the bison mural.
Yeah.
And
he paints picture of wife.
No, that one's not going to happen. I'm telling you, you will get canceled for that one.
Is that a painting of my wife?
We do not do that one.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny, but you can't say that. People are going to be wondering what the heck this is about, and I cannot give you any more details, or else Phil will be canceled off the face of the planet. Anyways, so there's a running gag through the whole thing where Thinker's supposed to paint a bison mural, and he hasn't done that. And actually, he ends up does painting the bison mural, but by this point, he wants money in exchange for it. And, well, he has to teach Hunter about money.
I give you a coin.
But then, inflation happens within the tribe. And so by the time the bison mural's finished, he asks for more coin. Hunter's like, why more coin? You charged them the same coin last week. And it's like, yes, but drought has caused caused berries for paint to be scarce. Therefore, price of berries gone up. Therefore, and I need to eat as well, so price of food gone up. Therefore, I need to charge more for bison mural. So he has to teach Hunter about inflation within the caveman economy. And so then there's also going to be one where, he paints a star chart, and he's talking about how the stars tell stories, can tell stories or whatever. And maybe we'll introduce a character called Storyteller. There's also Wife. She will be. She's mentioned, but she's not a direct character. She gets mentioned a few times, especially when Thinker has to teach him about when to have sex with his wife, so he doesn't have more children, causing more issues for the tribe. Which you may be thinking, geez, that seems like a very advanced thing for cavemen. It's not actually. There were tribes of cavemen that they would use the moon. Tracking the moon would then also track women's cycles, and they figured out when it was bad times to have sex with the women in the tribe, because that would lead to more children.
Yeah, that was in Sagan's book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very advanced thought.
Read Cosmos.
Yeah, read Carl Sagan's Cosmos if you want to know more about this reference. So Thinker could have easily have done that. So then Thinker has to teach him about, tracking the moon and then tracking women's cycles. There was another something about painting bison mural and mural of wife, but that will never be made, the mural of wife one. If we were Comedy Central, we could get away with it, but we are not.
Well, I mean, if you change the wording, I think the bison mural over the bed could be.
I just want bison mural over bed.
Yeah, but no, the part. Yeah, but the ending. How I make it end is what makes it so funny.
Yeah, but that can't be mentioned. Especially with the wife especially the money and wife one.
Well, can you say the F-bomb on the YouTube on?
So I'd rather not swear
Patreon?
the shorts and
Patreon?
the Patreon. Oh, well, you can do whatever the hell you want on Patreon.
Also on Patreon we can make it.
I suppose. If you want to see Hunter Thinker,
the explicit edition.
The explicit edition of Hunter Thinker, please please subscribe so we can get a Patreon. And then on the Patreon we can do the explicit version of Hunter Thinker.
It'll be quite the comedy.
Yeah, and also, you know, you gotta pay to see that. Maybe they made the whole thing a pay to see thing. You know.
No, but you gotta give them a couple for free. That way they know what they're paying for.
That's true. The beginning of the series.
Beginning
Introducing the character of Hunter and Thinkers.
Yeah. First season will be free.
First season will be free. You think too much. No, you think too much. I don't know how we're gonna do this because we'll have to like dress up like cavemen and to make it look better. And
well, no, I always think we need someone to be like an art and like make sketches that could be like clip art, and then we voice over it.
Oh, well, we now know Kyle won't do it because Kyle somehow finds Hunter Thinker. Not the concept of the show. He finds the accent offensive.
Yeah, he finds the accent offensive.
Which I still don't quite understand. Because we're making fun of people that never spoke English and also, like, had very basic language capabilities. And were also a concept that never existed. Like, there was never a group of people that had money, bison murals, frickin' spear throwers, tracked the moon in cycles. These people didn't exist.
What? No, they did those things.
Okay. Well, not all at once.
Oh, yeah, it took...
And, like, it wasn't, like, one group, and we're not making fun of a group of people, we're making fun of ancient humans.
Yes, but we're telling a story about the ancient humans, too.
Right.
Because it is factual.
Well, other than the money part.
Yeah. Well, do they have
Thinker invents money far earlier than humanity ever actually invented money.
When did they have bartering? Did the cavemen ever do bartering?
Oh, well, I guess they probably... Well, they wouldn't have had it. Trade? Well, I guess there's new theories that they were trading. Because you said in that paper, ancient humans were trading with Neanderthals.
Oh, they're trading sperm.
Well, yeah, but weren't they also trading goods though from China already at that point?
They might have been. I know they were interacting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's possible they had trade, but money. But the first money wasn't invented till like relatively recent, in the past 2,000 years. And we're talking about people that are, I shouldn't say 2,000, the past 4,000 or 5,000 years. But, actually, money's been around. How long has money been around?
I bet the Sumerians.
Probably.
The first civilization.
Money has been part of human history for at least 5,000 years. I was right. I literally just said, I think
well,
about 5,000 years. That's not how old the
Sumerians are, I bet.
For about 1000 BC, money in the form of small knives and shades made of bronze was used in China.
They gave knives.
Some early currencies were objects from nature. A notable example were cowrie shells used for money about 1,200 years ago. 1200 BCE.
So that's 3,000 years ago?
Yeah. But I think they had shiny rocks. This is Investopedia.
We'll go up.
It says still not far enough back.
Yeah.
I think this is GDP. GDP, actually the history of GDP.
Click on this.
For most of human history.
Can you open that up? Is there a link?
No, but I mean you could Google that, the history of money. For example, a farmer may exchange a bushel of wheat for shoes, bartering to currency. A type of currency slowly developed from centuries involving trading items like animal skins. Yeah, because China used the white buck. The white buck skin as money. That was the first paper
salt.
money.
Oh, the Romans, they love salt.
Yeah. Well, until Romans actually invented the concept of inflation. So the Romans, when they needed to continue to wage wars, I talk about this in my money video, in my loans video. I don't remember if I ever actually made that video or not. Anyway, so basically the Romans needed to wage war, and so they needed money. And well, instead of going out and getting more gold, to feed the economy, what they do is they would shave gold off of coins, making the coins making the coins physically worth less than they had been before. Would use that to extract enough gold, and then I think they would also just plating with gold. I think the insides of them were probably something else. They weren't pure gold and silver anymore. And so the Romans invented inflation.
But they did plating too?
It wasn't really a plating. They'd put something in the middle and then cover it in gold.
Because isn't plating used like an electrode, right?
Yeah, but you could, lay whatever. I don't remember how they did it, but they were trying to make the money smaller, and I think they were mixing the gold with other things.
Oh, it's like a mixture, an alloy.
Yeah, I think they're using an alloy as well. Basically, the Romans, instead of getting more gold, which would have solved all their issues, and actually, interestingly, would have prevented the fall, would have prolonged the fall of the Roman Empire, had they just gone and gotten more gold.
Yeah.
So the Romans just decided to, start a... See, that's the issue, right? So had the Romans just invented loans, right? They could have continued to wage war against the Mongolian, the Huns, or who did they wage war against and were losing?
It might have been the Huns.
Yeah, instead of fighting the savages and losing, they could have invested their money in...
Well, yeah, is that what...
more exploration.
Is that what Mulan was about that? The Disney...
Well, that was China versus the Huns. That was China versus the Mongolians. The Huns. Which, granted, the Huns did control literally all of freaking Asia at one point. They were the largest empire ever. But... yes. Well, anyways. No, had they just invented loans or gotten more gold, gone down into Africa and, gotten gold, the empire could have continued for a very long time. But, when things, but I think the problem they were running into is they were too war-based. They had lost all their philosophy abilities. They weren't like the Greeks. It's interesting, right? So the Greeks got wiped out because they were spending too much time on thinking, and when the famines hit, they didn't have, and they were too fractured still by this point that Alexander the Great was able to take them over.
Yeah.
And actually preserved their culture because he liked the Greeks so much.
King of Macedonia.
Yeah. And then the Romans took them over, right?
Yeah.
Took the Macedonians over?
Well, the Macedonians kind of became the Roman Empire.
Okay.
Right? I think that's how it worked. And then they eventually took over, northern Africa. And then far into the east.
Right. And then as far north as the UK.
Yeah.
And had their fight with the Nordics. Which I think is part of the problem why they fell. I think the Nordics were interfering with them.
Well, they also got too big. I think it was too much to try to manage.
So they split the two. That's how you got Constantinople. And then eventually the Ottoman Empire came from that.
The Ottoman Empire, yeah.
And
then the Byzantine Empire.
No, it's the Byzantine, then Ottoman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Ottoman Empire fell.
The Byzantine Empire fell in 1493, I think.
Well, then the Ottoman Empire fell because the British won in oil. Fun fact.
1453?
I watched a whole video about the Ottoman Empire today. And why there's so much war in the Middle East. A lot of it's the UK. Everything in the past 50 years was from the United States. But everything before that, leading up to that point, it's been the UK.
1453.
1453.
Yeah.
So, basically, the Romans just, needed to invent, just needed to get rid of the gold standard. They were ready. Of course, they would have to have invented paper money. And back then, they wouldn't have the technology to prevent counterfeit paper money. And so, they would have had rampant hyperinflation from counterfeit money.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it would have been bad regardless. That's how the U.S. helped defeat the South.
Yep.
Counterfeit South money. Which is interesting, yeah, because they had so much extra industrial power they could have. Anyways, so, Hunter Thinker. Coming to a short...
Thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts.
Leave your thoughts.
Ideas for episodes. They have to be like under a minute.
Concerns.
Ideas. It has to be under a minute because they have to fit as a YouTube short. So, yeah. Well, anyways, that's this podcast. I think that's a nice conclusion. Oh, right. The next podcast, we wanted to do the whole one is talking like cavemen.
Oh, the whole podcast?
Or at least the whole segment, possibly.
Oh, I didn't know it was the whole segment. Okay.
Well, you wanted to do one as talking like as a Hunter Thinker podcast.
Well, no, but then I was like, what if we just did shorts instead? But I guess we could try a podcast segment.
Yeah. So who's going to voice who for the Hunter Thinker?
I don't know.
Because that was actually something I was thinking about. Who would play who in Hunter Thinker? Because obviously I have the physique for Hunter.
I like your Hunter voice.
That's true. I could definitely play Hunter, but you don't have the charisma to be Thinker.
The charisma.
Thinker has to have some charisma to him. He has to be able to convince Hunter.
Yeah, but Thinker is also funny though.
That is he's got some wit. That is true, but you don't have enough wit.
I don't know. Well, I don't have enough appropriate wit.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I look.
Because I've made some great jokes in the car.
No wonder Kyle was so pissed off at us yesterday. God, he was pissy by the end of yesterday.
Yeah. I think he was just tired.
Yeah. Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. New podcast back to every single week. 11 a.m. Yeah. What's I say? 12 p.m. Central Time, and good night.